Well, good morning guys. It is Sunday the 19th of November today. It's absolutely freezing. There's a frost on the ground. It's 7 AM now. Got here about 20 minutes ago, just set up, got the rods in as you can see behind me. My thermometer's telling me it's 2 degrees, not what they forecast the 4 degrees, so it's a bit colder. The sky's clear. The water temperature is down to 8 degrees. If you remember Friday night when we had that lovely bream, it was just under 9, so it's dropped a degree in 36 hours, which is not going to help the fishing at all, I'm sure. So with that in mind, probably looking at perch, roach, and if we can get the bream going, fantastic. But a clear sky is not good, and you see the sun, it's not up yet, but it's on its way up, and it's hard going to keep the bream going here when the sun gets up. But you know, I have done it a few times in the past, but not quite in these cold conditions. But you know, we're here now, we'll have a go. Everyone's in bed at home, so we've got a few hours free. So what I've done, having learned from what happened on Friday evening, I've mixed myself up some more S-Core paste at home. That seemed to go really well here with the bream. So I've got that on the right hand carp rod in inverted commas. Again, I should just cast that out maybe once every half an hour or so, something like that. That's on the feeder on the helicopter rigs. And then I've got my 2 light ledger rods, the rods nearest the camera. I'm thinking roach and perch really. So variety of baits. At the moment I've got on a worm on one, and on the other I've got some bread flake. So we see how things go, but to be honest with you, well, you can see my breath going. I think things are going to be hard going this morning. It's bright, there's a frost, and the water's dropped, as I say, a degree in 36 hours. So that all spells to me of difficult conditions. However, you know, I'm not going to catch any fish laying in bed at home, so I'm here now. We've always got the chance. So let's see how we get on. Well guys, the rods have been in the water about 20 minutes now, something like that. There's absolutely nothing happening at all. So in an attempt to make something happen, I'm going to keep the carp rod, although it's bream fishing effectively, out on the spot, on the baited spot over there where I've ground baited. I'm going to keep the bread flake over there as well, in the same sort of area. What I'm going to do is, or should I say what I've just done, I've got the rod with the worm on. I've just brought it in and put a small maggot feeder on. And what I'm going to do with that is have a little bit of a cast around. That's the bread flake rod. I'm just going to have a little cast around with this this worm rod, just see if we can't drop it on the nose of a nice stripey. I'm just going to have a cast up the margins at the moment, just next to the reeds. From past experience, I know in the Avon here that the perch do tend to stick around the edge. So we'll have a little bit of a cast around with that. Although, you know, having said that, there's obviously a fish down there. Let's have a little go at that bread flake. So I was a little bit negative, but I feel a little bit more confident now. Well guys, we just had this little fella, so we haven't blanked at least. Absolutely freezing cold, but very welcome. Well, yeah, that was a bit instant. Just cast that rod in, bread flake on it, literally just set the bobbin and pulled away again. It's probably a small fish, but things picking up. We're getting a few bites now, which is good. Sun's up, as you can see. This worm's not doing anything at all, so I'm going to take it off. I think I'm going to put a maggot feeder on, just a couple of maggots on this rod, and see how we get on with that. I don't know if it'll come across on here, but I don't know if you're hearing my alarms, but what I've done, as I said on Sunday night, the quietest setting on here is like really loud. So what I've done is actually I've put my sounder box on, like the remote sounder box. I've just got it in my pocket and that turns right down. So if you can hear it, that's what it is. It's in my pocket. Well guys, things are looking up. I was actually a pull up and then drop back on the S-core, so perhaps the bream have turned up. I was actually just sat here doing a bit of quiver tipping with one of the rods, just on maggots. Just had it across my knees. So yeah, perhaps the bream have turned up. Bad. Well guys, finally something's put a bend in the rod. Lovely stripey. I was just doing a bit of ledgering, as I said a minute ago, on with a rod across my knee. Just on a maggot feeder. Come on, give my hook back. Just had a few rustles, then a big pull round. Yeah, this fella definitely worth getting up for. No beast, but smashing nonetheless. Put a bend in the rod, that's for sure. That's brilliant. I think he's looking up a bit. Fortunately, I think it's helping because it's clouded over a little bit, and the sun's sort of staying in. So that's great. Right, let's get him back. Well guys, it's about 10 o'clock now. There's really nothing happening here at all. I've tried different baits, different areas, been casting the one rod around. There's not a lot going on at all. Only action I have had is I cast right to the far bank. There's some snags and fallen trees on the other side, and I got a worm in behind that, thinking perch really. And I did have a bit of a sort of pull on that, but not really enough to strike at. But that's been it. Wheeled in and the worm had gone. So it was obviously a bite. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a few more minutes. I've actually had to pop home, to be honest. reel the rods in. I popped home for half an hour, so I'm back now. But as I say, it's very, very quiet. The sun's up as well, which I've said before is a kiss of death on here. But there's no massive rush for me to get home. So as I say, I'm going to give it probably another 10 or 15 minutes here. Just have a little bit more of a cast around. And then what I'm going to do is, if nothing happens, is going to just grab the two light rods, the worms and maggots, and their landing net, and go for perhaps a wander first up that way, sort of as you can see over my shoulder there, it's kind of the end of this bay here, this slack area. That's really slack water up there behind those reeds, just right where my thumb is. I think we'll go up there, give that 10 or 15 minutes, just see if we can't winkle out a perch. Failing that, I'm going to head off down that way, where there's a lot more overhanging cover, a lot more snags. We'll wander off up there. The gear's safe here, there's no one around, no one comes down here. So I'm going to wander off up there. It's only probably 50 metres anyway, just where there's all trees. We can have a bit of a cast around up there. So probably going to give it maybe another hour. But as I say, if nothing happens here, which it isn't, then we'll try and find the fish. It's just too cold, obviously, and I knew it was going to be hard going this morning. But it's obviously just too cold really for them to feed properly, and we picked up the odd fish, haven't we? We're having the odd knot, but nothing really. It's just the weather, you know, frost 2 nights running, it's really put the fish down. But anyway, that's the plan. 10 or 15 minutes here, then we'll go up there for 10 or 15 minutes, then we'll go down there for half an hour, and then we'll go back home. Well guys, a few of you may recognise this swim from right at the beginning of the season. I've walked right up the stretch, dropping maggot and lobworm into all the likely looking spots. I haven't had a touch. It's been really hard going today. I've walked right up to this peg, which is basically at the top of the stretch. As I say, you may recognise it from the beginning of the season. This is where we were doing the pre-baiting in the closed season, and we've had a few nice chub out. This is basically Otter Alley. But I've walked right up there. I have had a nice perch from this tree just to my left, to your right. So I've just dropped a couple of baits in there. I'm going to give it 10 minutes and then that's it, I'm off home. To be honest, the Avon's having one of its days where dynamite wouldn't get the fish out, but we had a nice perch earlier. But I'm going to give it 10 minutes anyway, see how we get on. Well guys, I'm going to call it a day at that. I stayed far longer than I intended, just having this wander about, but apart from that pluck we had up there when worm was stolen, nothing's happened at all. It's been hard going. I knew it was going to be hard going, and this place, as I've said before, can be impossible. When the fish are not having it, there's nothing you can do to make them feed. We had that nice perch out, a little roach, but as soon as the sun got up, really, I've been banging my head up a wall. So as I say, I'm going to knock it on the head. I'm off home now. What I think I'm going to do for sessions like this as well, which I'm intending on doing for a week or so now, is my other two. Obviously I've got three of my light carp rods. I'm going to set two of them up with some piking gear on. Really what I should have done this morning when I saw the frost was, instead of bringing that rod and fishing for bream, I really should have fished for pike. I think missed a bit of a trick there, so I'm going to set those rods up, get the pike gear set up on there, so I can come down at the drop of a hat with those. I've said previously that I'm not a fan of setting up in the dark, but this week we're forecasting milder weather, so I think what I might do is keep an eye on the water temperature as I do. If it comes up a reasonable amount, then because of this milder weather we're going to have the next few days, is I may just grab a rod, set it up at home, literally, and just a rod, unhooking mat, net and a bit of bait, and just go and drop in below the weir, see if we can't have a barbel out down there. As I say, I may do that. I haven't been too successful after dark with the barbel. It's been more sort of as it's getting dark, but I just can't get down that early. So I may well have a go at that. Maybe worth dropping in here as well, because I think with the road being behind me, I think that the fish probably a little bit more forgiving as far as light and movement and stuff is going on. So we may get away with it a bit more here. So I may do that if the weather's too good to miss, shall we say. Apart from that, I shall see you next Friday. We'll definitely be down here next Friday. So until then, apologies for the lack of fish, but that's what the Avon's like. I mean, I'm sure your other rivers are like that, but this place, when they're not having it, they're really not having it. So once again, tight lines. Thanks very much for watching. Enjoy your own angling. Hope you do a better job than I have, and I will see you again Friday, if not before.